There we go. Okay, so yeah, just follow along. If you feel like you can go ahead, that's fine. Keep in mind the most common mistakes, again, on the quizzes were not algebra, but arithmetic and details and negatives. So be careful here. What does this equal? What does this equal? Positive. Yeah, positive, right? And we can subtract the 6p on both sides. Remember, variables always go with variables. You'll never subtract a 6p on one side below the 6p, but then on the other side it'll be below a regular number. They're always going to be together. All right? And we can also, at the same time, or you can do different steps, I'm going to add the 24 to both sides. So that cancels the numbers on this side and the variables on the other side. I'm basically doing both steps at the same time. So you can see left over I have just variables on the left and just numbers on the right, and the equal sign in between them. Okay, so 18p minus 6p is 12p. 12 times what equals 36 plus 24, which is 60. And then you can divide both sides by 12. So p equals 5. So nothing different there. If I was grading this on a quiz, it'd be 1 point, 2 point, 3 points for subtracting 6 to both sides, and 4 point for adding 24 to both sides, a 5th point for dividing by 12 on both sides, and 6 points, with 6 points for the answer. So 6 different steps, 1 point per step. So that's why you have to have everything there, not just an answer. All right, let's go down to 3. Again, I'm staying on the left-hand column. Okay, go ahead and simplify that. What's wrong with my answer? Should be a positive. Yeah, negative times negative is positive. And bring down the right-hand side that we didn't touch. Okay, same thing here. We got a minus 6, so I'm going to add 6k to both variables, both sides. And I have on the left side a plus 10, so I'm going to subtract 10. So I look to the right variable and do the opposite. I look to the left side number, which is 10, and did the opposite. There we go. So that's 0. That's 0. We got negative 25 minus 6. 10 minus 10 is 0. Now it's okay if it equals 0 to write 0. Now what's wrong with this step? What did I do wrong here? Should be negative. So again, those are the most common mistakes I saw. Negative 25 plus 6 is negative 19. It doesn't change the answer, by the way, but it doesn't mean you can just do things wrong because the answer is the same. So negative is important. Divide both sides by a negative. By the way, this question is negative 19 times what is 0? We already know the answer is 0. Negative 19 times 0 is 0. But we still have to show the proof on why that's the answer, not just say, because I know. So 0 divided by anything is 0. So it's okay if we get 0 on one side. You just write 0. It usually means the answer is 0. I point this out because sometimes what I'm about to do with no solutions, stuff like that, people get them confused. So it's okay to have an answer of 0. Alright, now let's go down to here. Here's where we're going to run into something unusual. Okay, so I distributed on the left, negative 8n, negative 8 times 4 is negative 32. And if I go through my normal routine, I look at the variable on the right, do the opposite. In this case, negative 8n, add 8n to both variables. And something peculiar happens. Okay. On both sides, usually it's the right-hand side, the variable cancels out. That's why we chose plus 8n. But what happens when it cancels out on both sides? Right? There's no more n. N is gone. There's no more variables. The variables are gone. All we're left with is this. Negative 32 equals negative 32. There's no x, there's no n, there's no variable anymore. And that's what's peculiar is that, well, how can you solve an equation with no variable? By definition, an equation is, you know, two quantities that are equal to each other, one of them of which you don't know. In this case, we don't have that. We don't have a variable. So what do we do in this case? Okay. That's going to be one thing to think about. Okay, I'm going to come back to it. Just leave it open-ended right now. And let's look at something here very similar. If I distribute on the right-hand side, I'll get 5a minus 40. Bring down the left-hand side, 5a minus 43. And you can kind of see the same thing happening again. On the right-hand side, we have positive 5a, so I'm going to subtract 5a from both variables. All right, and once again, I have both variables on both sides cancel out. There are no more variables. They're gone. I'm just left with negative 43 equals negative 40. So let's look at both of these cases and examine what's similar and what's different. Try to get these both on here. There we go. So we have one case that these come out to be the same number. Okay, these are the same. All right, they're both negative 32. These are different. That's the only difference between a no solution answer and an all real answer. So the new thing today is this. How do you know if it's an all solution, a no solution or an all real solution? It's that the variables cancel out on both of them. But on one of them, what's left over, you actually get the same number. And on the other case, what's left over is different numbers. And technically, we can't say negative 32 is equal to negative 32, but here, negative 43 is equal to negative 40. That's technically not true. That's a false statement. So we usually put like a not equal to draw a line through the equal sign. And just to get to the point, when you have something that's different, that's when you write no solution. And when you have something that's the same, that's when you write all real numbers as your final answer. Now, to give you a context on why that's the case, ask yourself this question. Just watch this. You don't have to write this part down, but what number is an answer here? Meaning, what number plus 2 equals that same number plus 2? Like, is 1 an answer? Is 1 plus 2 equal to 1 plus 2?
No.
Is 1 plus 2 equal to 1 plus 2? Yeah, sure. How about is 2 plus 2? Is that equal to 2 plus 2? Yeah, what about 3 plus 2? Is that equal to 3 plus 2? You see how many answers there are so far? 1's an answer, 2's an answer, 3's an answer. Every single decimal is an answer. 1.5 plus 2 is equal to 1.5 plus 2. That's what all real numbers means. It means if you try to do a check, every single number works in your check. Not like normal where there's only one answer and that's the one number that works on your check. With all reals, every single number works on your check. It doesn't matter what it is. And the opposite is true for no solution. So no solution would be something like this. X plus 3 is equal to x plus 2. What number is the answer? So what number plus 3 is the same as that same number plus 2? Yeah, you can't add 3 to a number and then add 2 to a number and get the same answer. It's impossible. You know, it's like I have $5. You know, it's like saying if I have $5, if I find $4 more, or if I find $5 more, I'll have the same amount of money. Now, it doesn't make any sense. I can't add $4 to what I have and add $5 to what I already have, and I get the same, dollar total. One will be 9, one will be 10. There's no way to get the same number. So no matter what number I use here, right, these will never be equal to each other. There's no way for that to happen. And that's how you get no solution. That's why we have different numbers. You can see how these are different numbers, the 3 and the 2. It's kind of like these are different numbers. And over here, these are the same number, like these are the same number on both sides. So, yeah, that's how we get the no solution in all reals. Now, if you need to, jot this down so you have this, so you know how to identify a no solution and an all real. So, no solution, if the numbers are different, write no solution. If the numbers are the same, write all real numbers. And write out all 3 words all the way. Don't abbreviate or anything. Okay? Alright, so let's do a few more examples and practice this a little bit more. Flip it over to the back. And again, at the same time, we're not going to confuse it with an answer of 0 either. Okay. Let's do a little distributive property here. Number 9. Bring down everything else. Bring down the plus 1. Bring down the equals, negative 35 plus 4x, or minus 4x. Looks like I got 2 numbers on the same side. 1 plus 6 is 7. Simplify that. No, because it's positive times a negative, so that's negative. Bring down everything else. All right, variable on the right-hand side is negative 4x, so I'm going to add 4x to both variables, both sides. Add 4x. The number on the left is positive 7. I'm going to subtract 7 on both sides. So I'm adding to both sides, both variables and numbers at the same time. 7 minus 7 is 0. 4 minus 4 is 0. Variables are on the left, numbers are on the right. Equal sign in the middle. Alright, negative 18 plus 4 is negative 14. And negative 35 and negative 7. Negative 42. Okay, divide both sides by negative 14. Answer is positive, right? Negative over negative I know is positive. My answer is positive. How many times does that go in there? 3 times? Alright, you can double check it. 14 times 3 definitely is 42. Yeah, so positive 3. Divide by negative 14, yeah. But negative divided by negative is positive. Yep. Okay, good. So you can see you're going to have some regular problems. Not everything's going to be a no solution or all reals. It's just when they come up, now you know what to do. There we go. Let's distribute. Minus 5p plus 35. Bring down everything else. Bring down the p equals and the 33 minus 4p. Got variables on the same side right here. Remember, that's a 1p. So 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Bring down everything else. One step per line. Just taking it step by step. Alright, on the right hand side, the right hand variable is negative 4p, so add 4p to both sides. And here you can see something happening. Look at the variables, what happens? We have 4 minus 4 here, and 4 minus 4 here, or negative 4 plus 4, same thing. So here's that special case we were talking about. The variable is completely gone on both sides. Not just one side that we try to cancel out. We always try to cancel out the right side, but the left side too at the same time, which is weird. There's no more variable. We just have the 33 left over, my equal sign, and a 35 left over. So you have to figure this out. What does this mean? Is this a no solution, or is this an all real? No solution. And you can check back your work up here. You said if they're different, that meant no solution. Okay? So write out the words, and you put usually a not equals there, because 33 is not equal to 35. So we don't want to put equals, because it's not true. We say no solution, just write it out. Okay. Again, that happened because two things. Variables canceled out, and they were not equal to each other. That's how we got no solution. Peculiar. So there's some equations that cannot be solved. Almost there. Let's keep it going. That's not right. 28x minus x. 8x, there we go, yeah. 2x minus 14. We have variables on the same side. Negative 28x and negative 8x makes negative 36x, right? Because they're both negative, I add the numbers together, stays negative. Now, will this be a no solution or all reals? Can you tell already? Yeah, this is going to have a solution, right? But when you get the same variable on both sides, that's when they cancel out on both sides. But if these are different numbers, it means you'll have an answer. So we can expect an answer. So we can go through our normal routine, look on the right variable, cancel that out. This is positive, so I subtracted. And then look at the left number. This is negative 14, so I'm going to add 14. Oops. There we go. So I get 0. 14 minus 14 is 0. Negative 36 and negative 2 makes negative 38. Bring down the equal sign. Now, what does the right-hand side equal? What's left over? Yeah, I have 2 minus 2, which is 0, and I have negative 14 plus 14, which is also 0. The entire right-hand side equals 0. Now, is this an all reals or no solution? No, this has an answer because I still have a variable. So this has an answer. Don't say, well, it's all 0, so that must mean it's a special case. What is this asking? Negative 38 times what is 0? Is there an answer for that? Can you multiply negative 38 by something and get 0? Yeah, 0. So we have an answer. The answer is 0. And if you divide both sides by -38, that'll prove it. So when you do this, you'll get just x left over, and the right-hand side, 0 divided by anything, is 0. All right, good. So if anything else, you're just focusing on carefulness, neatness, things like that, and you'll be just fine. Okay, good. All right, let me do one more and then give you a little bit of time to work. Now, this was that one problem I want to be very careful with, because we always have issues with this. What number is in front of the parentheses right now? 7. What number is in front of the parentheses? -7, right? That's a -7. So do -7 times -6, which is +42. B. And what's -7 times -5? +35. If we're not careful with that negative, we'll be in trouble the rest of this problem. And bring down everything else that we didn't use. Good? Give you a chance to write that down. And anytime you feel like you can just go ahead and go faster than me, just go for it. Some of you might be pretty good at this by now. We have variables on the same side. So 42 minus 4 is 38. Bring down everything else. Okay. And looks like, once again, not a special case because I have different numbers here, so I'm not going to get it all reals or no solution. But what I do see is I have the same number on both sides. So maybe you can see a pattern happening here. So I'm going to end up subtracting 35 on both sides. Right? So I subtracted 38 because this is +38. I subtracted 35 because this is +35. Get 0 there. -45 times what equals, once again on the right-hand side, the whole thing equals 0. Both of those equal 0. So -45 times what equals 0? Just 0. Yeah. As long as you have a variable, you have an answer. Good. Give you a chance to write that down. And again, if you feel comfortable, just start working on the other side. You can get the whole thing done today if you're, up for it. If not, we'll be due tomorrow by the end of class, and we'll have some Khan Academy for this as well.